As I said, they add an international perspective to your education. In the UK, usually around 50 to 75% of the students on a master's course will be from outside the UK. So it really is a chance to work with an international cohort of students. It's more affordable than an MBA because it's designed for younger people who don't have that sort of income level that an MBA student will have yet. But there is a wide range of prices. So again, find out what the different schools are charging, but also look into what you're getting for your money as well. If something's really, really cheap, there may be a reason why. So look at what their charges are. But also, in the same way as MBAs, look at what scholarships are available as well. Make sure you investigate that fully. Also speak to the British Council for their advice on scholarships and that sort of things as well. Again, like the MBA, there's a lot of group work involved. You'll be part of a very international group and you learn from each other. The other final option is there are research-based masters, MPhils. They're usually like a one-year research degree, which is really sort of a taster that you can then build onto a PhD if you want to afterwards. Some schools do. We don't do that at my school, by the way, but some other schools do MPhils. So I've got a lot of time left. So choosing a school, there's some things you need to look into, whether you're doing the MBA or the MSc. Accreditations, they're quite interesting. They're sort of a stamp of quality of a school. 3 big ones in business schools are AMBA, which we touched on, the Association of MBAs. They accredit MBAs, but they also accredit MSc and management courses. Then there's 2 school-wide accreditations, which are EQUIS, which is the European Quality Improvement System, which is awarded by the European Foundation for Management Development. Which is a European award, but they also award it outside of Europe as well. But a lot of schools in Europe have that, and in North America. And the other one is the AACSB, which is the American award, which stands for the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business, which a lot more European schools have now. And I think both Cass, Manchester, and Warwick out there, they all have all 3 of those. So if a school's got 2 or 3 of those, that means it's a pretty good school. Because they come in, they do a big inspection, they look at the research goes on, look at the teaching, they interview the students, the alumni. It's a major hassle for the school to have to go through. So if they've got the award, that's 1 or 2 of those, or 2 or 3 of those, means it's a pretty good school. So that's going to help. Rankings you can look at, but don't be blinded by rankings. That's only really to give you an idea, because rankings change every year, and schools do a lot of things to try and boost themselves in the rankings. Gives you an idea of, if everybody's in the top 100 in the world or something like that, it means it's going to be pretty decent. But don't put too much emphasis on rankings. Much more important, these sort of later points, the academic focus of the school, is that the same as your academic focus? Like I said, at Cass, we're very strong on finance, but we don't really teach marketing or human resources. So if you want to do those, you might be better off going to another school. Recommendations of past students, that's really important. Speak to your friends, speak to your alumni, ask the school if you can speak to some alumni, some Brazilian alumni maybe, or some alumni who studied the subject you want to get their feedback on it. So don't just listen to people like me, because obviously we'll tell you our school's great. Speak to the students and find out what they think about it. And there's online forums you can go on to try and find some information now as well. If you take a bit of a look into that to find out what the students are saying, because they'll be more honest. Not that I'm not honest. Look at the school's reputation with employers. So if you're doing an MBA, is there anybody else in your field who's done the MBA at similar schools? Can they give you some feedback? Ask your employer, ask HR departments what they think about particular schools to give you some feedback on that. And also, very importantly, ask the school about the employability of their graduates. So, what are they doing there? What are your graduates doing after they've spent all that time and money on an MBA or an MSc? And that gives you some sort of idea of the return on investment for the course. It is difficult, though. I know at Cass, we survey our graduates all the time to find out what they're doing, but it's difficult to get hold of a lot of them because they've gone to so many different countries around the world. But that's something where you can look at rankings, like the FT ranking, for example, Financial Times ranking, does have a big question about salaries after they've graduated. So that's one thing you can bear in mind. And finally, I'll just give you some other sources of information that you can look at. If you want to, don't just listen to me, go online and have a look at some of these websites. That's the Association of MBAs. Their website's mbaworld.com. That gives you details of all the schools they accredit and a bit more information about choosing an MBA course. British Council, obviously, you're aware of already if you wouldn't be at this fair, would you? Prospects, that's a sort of directory of postgraduate courses in the UK, MSc and MBA courses. You can have a look through that, and it'll tell you a lot of the business schools and universities in the country and what sort of subjects they offer. EQUIS, which I mentioned, is one of the accrediting bodies, and their website is efmd.org, so you can look on there. And also StudyLink, that's another website that lists a lot of universities and business schools. So I think that's my time up. Somebody just waved at me at the back. Has anybody got any quick questions you want to ask now, before? Okay. Well, thanks for listening. I'll be at our table outside, the City University one. So if you want to come up and ask me about anything about MBAs or MSCs or anything about CAS or London or anything like that, I'll be happy to speak to you later. Okay. So thank you very much.